I've always viewed teaching as therapy. It's cheap. It's less expensive than therapy. So rather than my paying somebody to work out my issues once a week, a lot of people pay me.
Okay.
Oh, not for them. Oh, no, I send them to therapy.
Because I feel like office hours is me serving as unpaid and unqualified therapist.
Yeah, that's also true.
And then teaching is bad. And like, I'm not necessarily saying that I'm bad at it so much as like, structurally it is bad stand-up because you can't do good stand-up when every week they have to do a new 2.5 hours.
But like, that said, in your defense,
John Mulaney would not kill if he was like, all right, every week entirely new 2.5 hour set that I will then try again 6 months later for a different audience. He'd be like this. I mean, he'd be good at it, but he'd be like, this is not as good as actual stand-up. Structurally has some problems.
So you are better than John Mulaney, is what I'm hearing.
No, what I'm saying is that I'm doing the best that I can under bad circumstances.
Oh, I see.
He would do better than me, but it would still be not as good as his best facing those circumstances.
So you have to be precise and clear because I'm not a great listener.
I was actually gonna compliment you. You're
okay,
working
do it.
against
do
it.
it.
But your students love you. Your students love you. So whatever you're doing, I don't know if it's working, but they're enjoying it.
I mean, if I was funnier,
Yvonne's
would they
employed
let me
now,
more?
so
Well,
something's working. You're doing something right.
There we go. And that's all me.
It's all you.
Yeah.
It's all you.
I played a huge role in that.
Huge role in that. That said, I'm not going to counter that. I got an email from a regular listener. Said, I've been listening to you torture Karp on the pod, and it never gets old.
I guess here's my question, and I hope we do include this. How come you
It's
get
included.
emails?
It's red. The light's on.
I know, but
We're
gonna edit
recording.
some, right?
Oh no, he never edits that. Talk to Yvonne. We're leaving that in.
I just want to know.
I'll have to keep repeating it. We're leaving it in.
I feel like most episodes you will mention an email that you
Yeah.
get from one of our regular
Yeah.
listeners.
Yeah.
Listeners, I've never gotten an email from one of you. Do you, is it just only Peter's friends listen to the pod? Like, could I get a courtesy email just saying we exist? I don't know, something.
A pity email. And actually to the point of complimenting you again against type from Aristotle, which I know confuses you.
I'm sorry, you're going with an
My
Aristotle
Aristotle
quote to compliment me?
My Aristotle pad.
Aristotle
from a former student. The one exclusive sign of thorough knowledge is the power of teaching. Exclusive sign of thorough knowledge, power of teaching.
Sure,
You have
okay.
thorough knowledge. Thorough, Dave. Do you want a podcast?
I think that's supposed to be Thoreau.
That's the wrong department.
Go hang out in Walden Pond.
That's the wrong department. Although, if you want to talk about American civil religion and sort of, no, you don't want to.
No, I don't.
Pragmatism.
Can we get to the pod?
Early pragmatism.
What do you want to talk about this week?
People of the pod, welcome back to Office Hours with Karpf and Loge, summer school edition, I guess. We do live shows the moment you book us. So email Dave. Dave would like some emails. Email Dave, book us for your wedding.
I'm feeling very
corporate event.
unemailed. I'm feeling very unemailed. That's all.
Very unemailed. I feel like every American at this point strives to be unemailed. I can start forwarding some of my email.
I actually, this is something that. Are you an inbox 0 person or an inbox 25,000 person?
Neither. I try for the middle ground. I'm down to about 35 or 40 unread emails, and I'm sorry I haven't gotten back to you.
Okay, that's at least. I feel like there's kind of two polar personality types, and one is the person who says like, I am going to strive to have at least opened all of these emails or categorized them or gotten rid of them.
Yeah.
And the other is the person who says like, that's a lost cause, and there are 35,000 unread emails in their inbox, and that second person, I have a problem with, and I think needs to be fixed.
You know, I try to read and deal with all of my emails. It doesn't always work, but I try to at least fly through them. I'm not as good at categorizing them.
By the way, I have no idea why I'm leading the pod with this. I just went
don't know,
there.
me either.
I don't know.
Me either,
Anyway,
but
if you're listening to this and you have too many unread emails in your inbox,
Send them to
just
Dave.
know that I'm judging you.
And send them to Dave because
Yeah.
you'd like to be emailed.
Yeah, please.
We have many things to talk about. I have things on a shared document that I'm sure you occasionally look at.
I did not.
I did not. Well, which is too bad because I want to lead with two things. One of which I think you will enjoy. Both of which I think are from Blue Sky. So whatever your chalk up a win. There's so many metaphors for this administration at this point. In the warm up to, what's the date of this? I don't see the date. And the warm up to the great July 4th celebration on the Mall that kicked off at roughly midnight because it was like 100 degrees and the weather was terrible. there's a big stage set up, and a bunch of people were supposed to be singing and dancing on the stage. And during the rehearsals, one of the panels from the ceiling fell and almost hit people, which I feel like is a heck of a metaphor. The other that goes right to you is, again, I don't have the date, Ben Collins, blue skied out, not a great economy alert. Wall Street bets users think Palantir spiked today because the Onion story titled Palantir acquires Pentagon for $800 billion hit their front page.
Well, and so I don't know if that's because of Wall Street bets or even more foreboding.
I just know what's on Blue Sky.
Right, okay. But I'm just saying, like, a thing that may be happening there, since so much trading is now automated trading.
Yeah.
LLMs very well might have picked up that headline and used that to indicate, oh, you should buy Palantir stock, because LLMs can't tell that the Onion is satire. And since the economy now is basically run by bots that can't actually read, we now get phenomena like that.
So that seems bad, right?
That's bad.
Okay.
That's bad.
I'd like that back.
By the way, did you go to the Great American State Fair?
I know you did. I did not.
Did.
You did, so I didn't have to. That's what that's what the title of your thing said. I didn't read your thing, but there's a title. That's what the title said.
Thanks.
I
did. I went to the Great American State Fair.
I figured you were
going
to tell me anyway.
I went to the Great American State Fair for the bit, like you do. I snapped a bunch of pictures.
Yeah.
And from a Stratcom perspective, I actually think it was fascinating the type of train wreck that it was.
On topic, thank goodness.
Yeah,
like
finally.
40 minutes into a 30-minute podcast.
We haven't even gotten to World Cup yet, but we'll get there. The thing that really struck me is, like, if you're gonna do the Great American State Fair, right? If you're gonna say, like, it's America 250, we're gonna bring the country together to celebrate, and it's gonna be a state fair to end all state fairs. You have like exhibits.
Yeah.
You either need to do something that is clearly different from the Smithsonian Institutes that are right like a block away,
right,
or clearly better than them. And amidst everything else, this was neither. Like, there were a bunch of logistical mistakes. There are 3 stages, and they do not post what the schedule will be for any of the staged events. So, like, I took pictures of no crowds in front of a stage. Everybody was taking those pictures. Like, logistically, if you don't tell people that someone's performing, you can't really expect an audience for it. But on top of that, like, you go into the Great American Innovation Hall, and dominating it is a SpaceX display that is not very impressive. And it's rendered even worse because, like, the Air and Space Museum is 2 blocks away. And it's got better air conditioning. It's got better food. It's got better crowds. And it's a Tuesday, so it's there. And it's, like, I don't know what they were trying for besides probably graft and corruption. Like, somebody scooped a bunch of money out. But, like, my God, guys, you need to beat the baseline of next door.
Except that wasn't the point, right? The point was never to produce something that was good. It was to produce the flash. We're hosting the Great American State Fair.
Sure.
Like, that's all it is. It's the flash. It's not the substance. That's sort of the story of a lot of Donald Trump's career as a real estate developer, certainly on TV and in the administration.
So yes, and when I did the final write-up of this, I referred to it as a digital Potemkin village. Yeah. Because the part that I think you're right about there is...
Which several of our users will understand, and the rest will have to Google.
Yeah, they'll get it. Anyway, the idea of it, like, if you're walking around there, there's no flash to it.
Right.
But there are cameras on each stage. So you can have performers on stage who are pretending there's an audience, and we just sort of assume that away. Right? So it's just for the live streamers. Nonetheless, what stood out to me is, like, the UFC event, we talked about it on like, I did not like the UFC event. I am offended by them doing that and what they did to the White House lawn to do it. That has flash, though. Like, there's no question that, like, there was, like, there were big flashes in the air. 2 weeks of a Great American State Fair with 1 ride and a bunch of half-assed booths stretched over 7 blocks is actually bad flash. Like, even if all they wanted was flash, they kind of didn't have it except for the live streamers.
Completely underwhelming flash. And one of the rides, the Ferris wheel, I guess, is glass enclosed cases, so people were walking off.
Not one of the rides, the only ride. The only nothing to do
where people were walking off and fainting because it was 100 degrees out and you're in a sealed glass bubble in the sun. Yeah. But again, I don't think that was the point. Like, nobody, I love the Smithsonian Folklife Festival. I try to go most years. It's hot, it's dusty, right? It's a cool thing to do, but most Americans don't go. It's fun to have read about. Like, Trump will tell his people, we did the Great American State Fair. It failed because liberals hate it. Like, it's not about whether or not it worked. It's whether or not it's about a thing he announced, and all of which was overwhelmed by events anyway. Right. I mean, the World Cup is still going on, which is dominating, like it or not, it's dominating headlines globally for good and bad reasons. You've got, once again, we're at war in Iran. Again, the Fed might hike interest rates, or it's certainly not going to lower them. I mean, there's so much other stuff happening that I don't think Safer is never going to break through the noise anyway.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, except for it got a lot of journalists and snarky writers like me, like a fun little assignment that attracted. Like, I think people did spend a few days talking about it because it was a train wreck and because it was low stakes.
But the people who agree with you talked about it, right?
Right.
If you
but
watch,
that's still fun.
That's still fun. It's still fun.
Right.
Still fun.
I'm not saying this is like defining our politics right now, but it was certainly a news cycle or two.
Let's talk about something that could be defining our politics, because I think there's important strategic communications points in here. And that was the birthright citizenship ruling. The Supreme Court boldly went out on a limb and declared the Constitution is in fact constitutional.
By a 5-4 vote.
By a 5-4 vote. I'm a U.S. citizen because I was born in Los Angeles. I never had to take a test. Nobody quizzed me. I was born in L.A. You're a U.S. citizen because you were born in Bethesda, D.C.
Rockville. Yeah.
Rockville. Born in Rockville.
Don't go back.
Now, a bunch of our listeners are going, what is going on? Google REM.
Listeners,
don't go back to
if you
Rockville.
got that reference, send me an email.
Just
Inbox
please send
and
Dave
overflow.
email so he'll stop talking about it. But I do want to also flag something that, again, from Blue Sky, so your work here is done, reposted by Chris Hayes, somebody, with this ruling, birthright issue is not going away. The right hasn't really begun, quote, organizing around getting rid of citizenship as clause. Like Roe, this will be their fight for a generation. If the Democrats say, quote, we won, and ignore it like Roe, Republicans will eventually win. So this actually raises for me something that I think is an important strategic communications issue, and something that really bothers me about the political left. There's an instinct to say we won the court decision, so we won and it's solved, right? The courts are smart people. We're smarter than everybody. The courts have ruled, so the issue's going away. I don't think enough organizations spend enough time winning the victory, right? This isn't just a legal fight, right? You have to win the public debate, but why the question of whether or not if you're born in the U.S. you're a citizen is just a silly debate. Like we have to win the victory, otherwise. Like Speaker Johnson has already said, they're going to try to find legislative solutions, what he calls a loophole.
Yeah.
So I think we got to win the victory.
So, and first of all, I saw yesterday that apparently Trump has announced that he's going to demand the Supreme Court immediately reconsider that. Like they are appealing the Supreme Court decision to the Supreme Court, which I guess he can do.
Stephen Miller? To whom are they adjudicating it?
I mean, I think that they're demanding that there are new facts, and so insisting the Supreme Court take the case back up again, or another case.
Okay.
Again, not a lawyer, but it seems like there's probably actually some room. I mean, my understanding is that Kavanaugh kind of said in his foresight of it, like, hey, if you restructured it this way, I think I can get to 5. So like this may not even be over in the short term. I'm broadly with you on this particular topic. What strikes me is I think the comm strategy has to be mostly ridicule.
Okay.
Right? Like the fight over Roe had some deep substance for both sides that you could dig into and spend an awful lot of time, and had to spend a lot of time on. Whereas here, this question of how does one become a citizen of the United States? And by the way, it was already set down in the Constitution, like pretty damn explicitly. The one side, like Trump said yesterday in his Truth Social post, that there are billboards going up in Mexico saying, like, here's how much it costs to have a baby in the United States, and then haha, citizenship, which almost definitely not real.
No.
But like, they're going to keep on conspiracy theorizing to say like, oh, we can't have a country if we continue to have the same citizenship rules that we've had for centuries or generations. There's not a big positive vision of, no, this is how one becomes a citizen here, so much as a like, my God, you guys are nutcases. But like, I think that actually makes this sort of like interesting and a little different than a lot of the, like, I think it's true that often we win the court case and say, haha, we can go home, and then they keep on organizing. Here, I think the organizing landscape is a little weird because there's not some big positive vision of like, if you're born in the United States, then you're a citizen, so much as like, these are the rules and you all are being weird about it.
I mean, we can do that, but I also think, because that gets the people who agree with you. I think what's underlining a lot of the, like, why birthright citizenship is an issue at this point, like, birth tourism is like it's already illegal. Like immigration fraud is already a crime. But I think one of the reasons it's getting traction is because we're debating what it means to be an American. Who are we? And therefore, who are they? What does it mean to be us? And so I think one of the things that the political left has to do is come up with a more compelling story about who we are. What is the story of what it means to be an American, right? And one of the things you hear, I've heard internationally, is America is one of the only places you get to be an American because you decide you're an American and you feel like an American, right? You're not third generation from whatever village, or you don't trace your ancestors back to, whatever part of a country. It's an idea or an attitude or an approach. And I think that the political left would be smart to run a comm strategy basically saying, America is amazing because of all of these people who come here and choose to embody our values, right? And I have to get the World Cup reference in. One of the only shining stars of the U.S. men's national team coming out of their crash out to Belgium was Balogun, right? Who is, of course, the subject of red card controversy and the head of FIFA and President Trump. He's an American citizen because his mom was too pregnant to fly home to the UK.
Yeah.
Right? And he is the one who scored the U.S. goals. After he was kicked out of the game, after he was sent off with a red card, he came out later, shook the referee's hand, and he said, because that's what you have to do, you have to show respect. And the next, and when he was reinstated, he went up to the Belgian coach, who was livid that Balogun was allowed to play, and said, I'm sorry, like this wasn't my decision, understand the position you're in. Like that is the embodiment of what I think a good citizen looks like. He's an American because his mom was too pregnant to fly.
So yes, but like lurking just below the surface of these attacks on birthright citizenship, and when I say just below the surface, it's like a translucent surface, like we're going to see, is outright racism.
Well, but that's the thing,
but
Balogun's parents were actually Nigerian, and then she was like visiting her sister in the UK, or visiting her sister in New York.
The challenge here is if like all of these stories of like this is the good thing that we believe being an American is, and what the other side is just doing gutter racism, but with a wink. Like, I think it ends up not like all of those stories are heartwarming stories, and there's some truth to them. But then what the other side is just tapping into is like, but there are dark, menacing hordes out there that are denying you the good life that you ought to have, and you can just blame them and everything. Like, then we have since we're not directly, we're either directly countering the racism, or we're telling warm stories that end up not directly connecting.
Or it's a yes and, right? I think you have to tell a more compelling story. If people are feeling disconnected and they're angry and things aren't working and they can't afford a house and they can't afford healthcare and they can't afford to send their kids to places like GW, there's got to be a reason for that. And the reason is, and the right is saying, it's those people. This is black and brown people. They're taking things from you. If there is no counter narrative, if there's no counter story, then the only one that wins is the hateful one. There has to be another story in the game, and I think smart advocates should be telling a more compelling story. And that's not going to win the whole thing. People aren't going to go, that's right, we're not racist anymore. A bunch of Americans have always been racist. It's in addition to, and what do you mean you're mocking the Constitution? And in addition to. I think it's a yes and.
It's a yes and, but like the other bit that stands out to me is, again, the media environment that we have and that is being developed is one where like the Balogun story will have legs for like a day because people are focused
over.
on
The U.S. have been lost, so
right. And like you can also tell that story about immigrant founders of Silicon Valley companies, right? Like you can tell those stories, and those will have like a bit of a life. The other side, and like hell, the whole thing in Ohio during the last election of like Haitians eating the dogs and cats, and that was vile racism from the soon-to-be vice president and the president. And they just sort of said, like, well, we're going to go with it. And since Elon Musk owns X and likes it, like, he helps to spread it. Like, there's now enough big players who have decided both that attracts eyeballs and also we want to make that attract eyeballs, that it's a deeply unlevel playing field. So again, like I would, like if I was working on this, I would lean more into the talking about it directly as racism, because that does put them on the back foot, and also it is. And also just ridiculing the hell out of them. Like, yeah, you also need some positive stories and those come up, but I think it's mostly shame the hell out of them for being the gross ogres that they are. Because they are.
I would agree with that, but also though these are tactics,
Yeah.
right? So they're gross ogres, they're racist. That's bad because as Americans we believe blank. Like the premise, I think, has to be a positive story about what it means to be an American, and that is, we're imperfect, we're getting better. It's not where you come from, it's where you wind up. It's not what you did yesterday, what you plan to do tomorrow. It's hard work, it's humility, it's all of that. And racism is bad in the context of something else which is good. And I think if you only do the mocking and only do the attack, there's no positive foundation. And I think you have to have that positive foundation. You have to have a meta-narrative that's a positive foundation of what it means to be an American.
So I agree with you on the positive foundation and not on the meta-narrative. I think
Okay.
that broadly, everything is just tactics unless you are repairing the foundations of having a government that works for people and makes people's lives better. If people's lives en masse were improving, then it would be harder to say like, well, here's the scapegoat for why everything has fallen apart. We are living through sort of the decline of the American empire, and people would like to have some nice explanation for why we aren't or whose fault that is. That is trying to move uphill like during a flood. And you're going to keep on sliding down because like the foundations are awful here. So you actually need to sort of go back to liberal technocratic government that makes people's lives better and then tell these good stories. But otherwise, in terms of just narrative frames, like I don't think you end up getting anywhere because they're giving an explanation for why, no, it's fine. Your life will be better if you just blamed them and we made them go away. And we're on the side of saying like, actually times are tough right now, but we're doing the best we can. And no one wants to believe that
I don't
story.
I don't think it has to do that, right? I mean, I've certainly worked on enough issues where the best argument is, yeah, it's bad, but it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
Terrible bumper sticker. I'm suggesting a positive story. And actually, this is a bridge, quite surprisingly to me, to another thing I want to talk about, which is a piece from Politico last week about Republican attacks on liberals winning primaries in Colorado, and then also the mayor of New York, Mondani. And it's, we're going to go after them. They're godless communists. They're breaking America, all of this. Routenell told Ali last night, there's nothing radical about making sure that folks have affordable health care, that they have food, that they don't have gas prices that are going through the roof. This is the focus of this campaign, making sure that working families across this district are able to make ends meet. Then in New York, it's the expect to hear this reaction again and again from new leftist Dems, quote, voters just want to live dignified, secure lives. If we can deliver for that, any attacks that come from the Republicans are just going to ring hollow to them. And that's not Mondani, that's Karpf said that, but it's in the context of also Mondani's mayorship of New York. We're just going to make stuff work. Yeah. And if you're going to call us godless communists and, whatever, like I don't really care. What matters is cities are going to work, stuff is going to be more affordable. We're just going to be less hateful and awful people. Yeah. So now we're making stuff work, and we're doing it from a perspective of we're better together. So those racists are bad because they're trying to blame stuff on people that doesn't deserve any blame, and they're not actually fixing anything. We want to fix things. Yeah. So I think, maybe it's part of the larger, maybe it's all part of the same thing.
It is,
maybe. I don't know.
This is sort of teed up for people like Mamdani by Republicans getting so bad at governing for so long. Right? Like now the DSA gets to be the side that actually fixes the damn potholes.
Right.
Right? Like the old line about fascism is like, well, at least under fascism, the trains run on time. And like, what we're living under right now, the trains don't run on time, right? Like the airports keep breaking. So now we get the leftists being the ones who are saying like, maybe stuff should just work. And like, communities should get to have events where like they like all go swimming at the pool together. Well, the fact that type of patriotism has gotten teed up for them, again, they need to be able to deliver on it.
Have to be able to deliver on it, and I think tell a good story about it, because the data indicate in fascism, actually, the trains don't run on time because it's so profoundly corrupt. Yeah. Right. So fascism is actually a wildly inefficient form of government. As inefficient as democracy can be, fascism is really bad. Socialism actually has a pretty good track record in a lot of American cities. A lot of Milwaukee, for example, just survived because of this. Another piece of this is I was talking to the head of a group yesterday called, I'm going to space on the name, it'll come back to me in a moment, but they work with small business owners, right? It's sort of a counter to the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. A small business majority, it's called Small Business Majority. And they organize a lot of small businesses, and they're trying to make the case to progressive Democrats you should be pro-small business. And part of that is actually in New York, where the mayor is doing stuff with bodega owners, right? And a lot of small business owners are relatively progressive because they've got to provide health insurance. And when they talk about it for their employees, that means their family, their kids, their spouse. It means making taxes reasonable so they can pay their taxes but also get stuff done. It means transportation has to work so people can get to and from the store, right? So it ends up being this small business, public works, public good, community-oriented organizing, right? That hopefully they can make work. But I think then it's, as long as it's part of a larger story of here's who we are as a country, we're a country of strivers, we're a country of entrepreneurs, of second chances, of hustle, then I think it's good. Otherwise, I get a little concerned that it's just a series of tactics in search of a strategy.
Yeah, I mean, to me, if the tactics are working well, then the narrative ends up holding. And if they fail, then as good as the narrative is, people won't remember it.
Fair enough.
Right? Like, there are a lot of potholes in New York, so he gets to have a field day filling potholes. One of the real challenges that I imagine we're going to see, like, if you had a Mamdani-style mayor in a lot of different cities, a thing they would immediately run into is the chief of police being like, nope, I'm not going to let that happen. And if you had the chief of police and a few other key actors in a city say, you may have won the election, I ain't going to let you govern, then they can't govern. And then all the stories about, like, people aren't going to say, like, oh, but we understand why, because they're not going to pay that much attention. And then no matter how good your story is, it falls apart. So you need a bit of that moment. Probably the amount of corruption in the country, again, sort of tease them up to be able to fix some things and have a community come together and fix it. But like, everybody wants to put a small business owners in front of the camera. Developing a politics that actually works for them and works for them in ways that are material enough that people can see and tell and it resonates, you kind of need objective conditions on the ground to be bad enough to pull that off.
I also think the last piece on this, and I want to move on quickly to something else, is the elected officials have to understand they were elected to fix things, not to posture about big national issues. Yeah. And I worry about that here in D.C. a little bit, and I worry about it nationally, saying, aha, finally the workers' revolution is upon us, the scales have fallen from our eyes. Like, no, fix stuff and you'll keep getting reelected, and be nice about it, and be humane, and be welcoming, and don't be racist, and don't be homophobic. But you weren't elected to make a point. You were elected to make stuff work. And if you lose sight of that, I think you're toast.
I think that's right. I would add that is substantively true, and part of what has made it more complicated is, there's the old line that all politics is local.
Right.
That was true back when we also had local media.
Right.
Around when we stopped having local media, all politics was nationalized. And that meant that you ended up selecting in politics for people who mostly wanted to grandstand on national stuff, because that's how you make a name for yourself. Fixing that gap ends up being harder for that reason.
Oh, absolutely. And you talk to political consultants, some of our colleagues here will say they'd rather run local campaigns in local areas, but there are no local media, and so you have to run on national issues because that's resonating with voters. Yeah. Hopefully local media are coming back. A lot of energy, time, and money are being put into local media. I think there are a lot of independent creators of local media. Liz Kelly Nelson and Project C is really focusing on this, pushing on local media. In addition, a recent study I saw a couple of weeks ago, the importance of local media also for mental health, because you feel connected to your community, you feel connected too. So with clock is running. We've got a few minutes left. Anything else you want to talk about? We've got Maine. I don't know the timing of Maine. What do you want to do about?
The thing that keeps time. So we're recording this as Graham Platner has, I think, announced that he is in fact going to step down.
Right, about an hour ago at this point.
Can I just vent for a second?
We're here for you, Dave. This is a therapy piece. We're coming full circle in this episode.
Love it.
Also, back and take notes.
Graham fucking Platt. Like, the gall of these dudes with that many skeletons in the closet saying to themselves, who should be a senator is me. Because, like, I will just share, I would never run for the Senate. Not because of skeletons in my closet, but because then I would have to make fundraising phone calls, and I'm an introvert. Like,
we're asking people to pay us to do this.
Like,
you know that, right?
No, you're asking them because I don't want to make the ask.
Hey,
but I'm not the amount of phone time you have to that is
call time,
a barrier.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, people with that record are like, no, the world needs me, and I can pretend that out of existence. Because it's not just Graham Platner. Like, the number of misogynist dudes with closets full of skeletons, like, have an ounce of humility, particularly if you actually believe in any things that you claim to believe. Like, you don't get to hold power, man. It's not going to go well, and you should have known that in advance. You're a fucking idiot that you didn't. But it's so galling because it's not just Platner. Like, the number of campaigns that, they're able to win the primary, and then we find out all the shit. How did you possibly run? And it's, I think, partially because they are the type of person who says, I'm happy telling everyone they need to give me all the money because I should have all the power, are utter nutcases.
Part of it is that. Part of it is you do oppo research, obviously. You hire opposition researchers. They research your opponent. They should also research your own campaign.
Right, which is standard.
Standard.
They do that.
But also early Platner people said, you know what, I'm out. I know this guy. I'm not working on this campaign. We were warned about Platner. Some campaign staff will hang on because, as you pointed out in the last episode, well, it's him or we continue to support the Trump administration. I know this guy's a nutter, but look at the stakes. It turns out that is a terrible approach.
Right.
And now the Dems, I've got a dog in that fight. We've talked about it. By the time people listen to this, maybe the whole thing will be done and dusted. But it looks like at this point there are 3 really good potential Democratic candidates. Any one of whom would have been a terrific Senate nominee, and we didn't have to go through all of this.
Yeah.
Had Mills recognized early on that she was not going to get the nomination, because why would you replace one old white lady who's benign even when you disagree with her with an old white lady who's benign even when you agree with her, versus the GW dropout? Like, had any one of these, just bananas from top to bottom. But you've got 3 good Democratic candidates. By the time people listen to this, maybe one will be calling me for money because I'm on those lists. That's what I got. You got anything else? How you feeling about basketball?
I'm really curious the choices that the Washington. I'm gonna go see some games this year.
Okay.
DeAndre Ayton is an odd signing for the Washington Wizards.
Okay.
I don't really know what we're doing with this mix of vets and young players, but I'm ready to tune in. I'm also real worried that Darren Peterson is gonna seem like the guy we should have drafted, but we will see. How are you feeling about Trump interfering with FIFA and the World Cup?
FIFA at its FIFAist, Trump at its Trumpist. Like, it was a bad call. I don't think I understand the call. I don't think it should have been called. I don't think it should have been reviewable. He was sent off. That's a drag. Balogun's a terrific player. Shouldn't have been sent off. That's whatever. You don't rescind a red card if there is no process for rescinding red cards. In every league in the world, there's an appeals process. There isn't in the World Cup. He has to sit out a game. If FIFA is going to intervene and do FIFA things for ratings, we all knew they were corrupt. Of course, but everybody assumed Trump made a phone call. Then Trump went, I did this, I fixed this, which helps nobody. It makes everybody look bad. And then you have a U.S. team that showed up against Belgium, looked like they had no idea what they were doing. You have to think the outside noise was a part of that. And a bunch of other stuff probably happened as well. But just, for all of the corruption, all the hydration breaks in 70-degree stadia, like, we know this is a money play. We know this is a FIFA doing FIFA things, but I still managed to find the joy and the fun in the World Cup. But that last bit, now, like, Egypt is saying the refs are against us because they called back our tying goal because this nonsense foul, and England is trying to get a red card overturned because, look, FIFA did this thing. It's frankly disappointing, but I'm going to watch the games. I'm still rooting for the Basques.
2 follow-up questions for you.
You asked, by the way. It's not my fault I ranted. You asked.
I thought you were going to rant 2 hours. That was shorter than I thought. So 2 follow-ups. One, we have Trump at Game 3 of the NBA Finals.
Getting booed.
And the Knicks lost that game.
Yeah.
Trump interfering here and U.S. men's national team losing. So my first question for you is there a Trump sports curse?
Yes. Is there a Trump curse? Just insert whatever word you want, yes.
Second question for you.
Although his son Barron played in the D.C. United Youth Academy during Trump won. So there is some soccer cred there.
Okay, and yet he ruins everything he touches. Number 2, is the plural of stadiums or stadia?
Stadia.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
See you next time.
What a way to end.
Jack,
This has
turn this
been
off.
Office Hours with Karpf and Loge. I'm Karpf, he's Loge.